Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, Chief Monkey of Wall Street Oasis, and this is Monkey to Millions, a show where you get a front row seat as I mentor young students and professionals to try and help them break into their dream jobs. In the first cohort, you'll meet 4 students, all preparing for intense job interviews while trying to also balance a personal life and schoolwork. The goal of this show is to shine a light on the struggles of trying to break into competitive positions with a non traditional background and to give you a roadmap for your own success. My hope is that as you get to know these 4 impressive students, you are inspired to dream big. Remember, these are real people and this is their true story. Let's get to it. In this short session with Grace, we just touch base quickly as she's in the middle of finals. We talk about how to succeed at her internship now that it has moved remotely. We talk about contingency plans in case there's a lower workload and how she can build out her resume in this important summer. Enjoy. All right, Grace. I think this is like session number 9 maybe, or 8 or something. It's crazy.
Something like that.
But yeah, it'd be great to just get an update and hear how things have been going over the last, what is it, 5 weeks or so? 5 or 6 weeks?
Yeah, about that. So I've just been finishing up online classes and going through all of that.
When are you done? Next week, basically?
Yeah, so my classes are officially finished, and then right now I'm just catching up on final papers and projects, and then I have a few more final exams, and about a week from now I'll be completely finished.
So it's really busy right now.
Kind of, yeah.
So thank you for taking this time to do this. So I won't keep you too long because I'm sure you have a ton of work, as do I. But let's talk a little bit about, so like classes, do you feel like you're going to finish okay? Do you feel like you're set up to kind of do well?
Yeah, and since we have the pass fail option for any classes we chose, that was good. So hopefully that'll help me too, since I could choose to pass fail classes where I thought where I wouldn't get an A necessarily.
Are you doing that in a few?
Yeah, for a few of them. So.
Okay, cool. Great. So then, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So I guess that's wrapping up this week. And then any other kind of notices? I know all the spring weeks got canceled and all that stuff, which is kind of a bummer. Have you been talking to any of your contacts, anything new there? Or have you been able to keep up with the internship and remotely, or like, how is that going? I know I talked to, I talked with John yesterday, one of the other mentees, and he was like, yeah, he started a part-time remote IB internship, and he's been doing like about 10 to 20 hours and then another 20 hours with another real estate firm to try and pick up some paid work, since the internship's unpaid. But yeah, I'd love to hear, have you been able to kind of pick up anything from that for them, or you just kind of, has it been pretty slow?
It's been pretty slow. So I'm still doing I guess part-time technically, since I'm still doing classes. So just the same as it's been all semester, but it's definitely been less work remotely that I've been able to do. But I'm hoping that once I finish classes and I'm available basically the entire week, maybe I'll be able to get a little more involved in some things. But
have they told you like this summer they'll be able to potentially give you work over the summer?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of uncertainty about when people are going back up to the office. So
yeah, that probably won't happen.
Yeah, so it's just a matter. I think no one really knows yet.
Yeah, and you're home in Maryland, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it'd be great if you could. I told this to John. It'd be great if you could try to advocate for yourself and don't be too quiet over the summer.
Right.
In terms of trying to get some work just for the resume. Just for a few bullets, even if it's like a few research projects or any modeling you can do, would be excellent, because I think that would be huge. The other thing is we're going to be announcing next month, we have a bunch of new financial modeling courses that we're releasing on Wall Street Oasis. So I don't know if we've given you access to the Excel modeling course. Have we done that?
I know I have is it part of the interview course?
No, it's totally new.
I don't think so.
So Excel modeling, financial statement modeling, I can get you access to those now. That's another thing that would be great over the summer, especially the Excel modeling, just trying to get the foundations built with your, so I told John, it's kind of like an instrument. And you should think of it as like learning how to play an instrument, using that program. So when you first start out in like on the piano, you're playing like hot cross buns with two, with two fingers, eventually you can get to a point where you're like a concert pianist, right? And you're using all 10 fingers and very fast. And I think that is well worth the time to get extremely efficient in Excel, building financial models, linking up 3 statements, understanding how to balance your balance sheet. All that stuff is time well spent, even if the internship's not giving you that. Putting in, a good, 100 hours this summer, or even a couple hundred hours drilling with that stuff, can go a long way toward making you super efficient kind of sophomore, during either a sophomore year internship or your sophomore summer.
Okay.
It'll make it that much easier. Just understand the financial concepts, understand the valuation, understand DCF modeling, all that good stuff, so that you're just extremely well versed on the theory, but also can in practice put together the analyses really fast.
Okay.
So you basically want to become a machine. Because at the analyst level, at the junior level, where you bring a lot of value is just your efficiency and how fast you can whip up analyses. And so, not ask 100 of the same, 100 questions at the same time, and have some thought process of, okay, why are we making these certain adjustments to this company and not others? That type of thing. So the more you can kind of spend time in those courses, I think the better you're going to be in terms of setup for your internship and eventually for your full-time job. If you come into your full-time job having, let's say you do this training, then you do a couple internships and you keep training for 3 summers. By the time you get to your full-time job, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of where a lot of other kids are if they've only done 1 internship and maybe only kind of touched on, financial modeling for like 20 hours and kind of maybe on a Mac. Do you have a Mac, by the way?
No, I don't. I've been doing all Windows.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, good. Because John had a Mac and I'm like, you have to buy Parallels and you have to buy a PC keyboard. Because he was learning this stuff on the Mac. I'm like, no.
All the shortcuts are different.
All different. I'm like, you're learning to play the wrong instrument. So good. That's good to hear. So I think that would be time really well spent. If they're giving you like a crazy amount of work, then great. Then do those projects, deliver really well. But if, let's say, they're only giving you like 10 hours of work a week and you're like, I'm kind of bored, like just setting aside an hour or 2, maybe in the morning this summer from 8 to 9 a.m. I have to be doing this course. If you set aside that time, and you can play a lot of the stuff back, 1.5 times speed, all that stuff. If you take the time to do that, I honestly think more than just watching the courses, and it's really doing the exercises and the drills over and over and over again. If you do that, I'm telling you, it's going to be an incredible benefit to you down the road.
Okay.
For confidence too, and for interviews. So what else is going on? How can I help? So like it sounds like you don't really, it's a little bit up in the air for this summer. You don't know how much work they're going to have for you. I think you're in the same boat as a lot of people.
I'm just glad I have something. And I think it will be more. I mean, when I was in the office earlier this semester, I was doing 20 to 25 hours a week.
Good.
So, and that was just like part-time. So I'm thinking full-time, even if it's remote, I should at least be able to get, 20 hours a week, something.
Yeah. I mean, and I would, if you can do a lot of valuation work, that would be great. If you can do any sort of modeling work, or even if they're not giving you the modeling work, if you can shadow the modeling work. So even if they're not like, hey, build this model, if you can see what the analysts have done or the associates have done and ask for access or a copy of that, try to delete it and rebuild it, or build it from scratch, like on a blank spreadsheet. That's a great way to practice, because then you have to link up everything. And that, if you rip out the mouse from your keyboard and you don't let yourself touch the mouse throughout that whole process, you'll get really fast. If you do that a few times, you'll be shocked. You'll be like, this is so easy now. Like I thought it was all complicated. And there's a few like nuances and stuff like that depending on the type of model, if it's a merger model, if it's just a 3-statement operating model. But yeah, I think doing all that drilling, it's not like super riveting, but it's like almost like building just your skill base. Is like when as I was a soccer player, it's almost like doing the juggling and the dribbling skills rather than just like looking at the final output and just being like, oh yeah, I understand it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. That makes sense.
Sorry about the screaming.
I know.
You hear that?
Barely hear it.
Okay. In terms of other stuff, what's going on? Have you been talking at all with anybody in your network, keeping in touch?
Yeah.
You have,
I've
good.
especially some of the younger Fordham alumni have, a couple have actually reached out to me. People I've talked to a few months ago about applications opening within the next couple months for summer 2021. And I've been interacting a lot, especially with the Fordham Goldman team. So they actually offered to help me out with even maybe doing a mock interview sometime this month or in June before
Awesome.
applications open July. So
this is for sophomore summer. They're opening in the next.
I think they open July 1st for Goldman at least. And I think BAML's the same way.
But that's accelerated. That's for sophomore summer, like accelerated recruiting.
I think so.
Like diversity.
I don't know how it works. I think every bank's different, and if it's just diversity or not.
I think that sounds really early. Well, no, I guess it's within 1 year ahead of time. That's normal for the sophomore program. Okay, so that's good. Anything else with the rest of your network? Like, do you have are you still using Right Inbox? Is it there's stuff popping up?
Yes. Yeah, that's been really helpful, and
you can put like a 6-week lag on it, or even an 8-week or 10-week lag on it. You don't have to be like every 3 weeks. You don't want to be like bothering people.
And that's what I've been doing a lot recently too, because I guess with everyone's schedules are different right now, being stuck at home. So I haven't been as aggressive on that front.
That's good. Yeah, you don't want to be like tone deaf to what's going on and everything. Yeah, I've
been reaching out to a few people at some of the boutiques too. So like Moelis and Evercore, because there's not a lot of Fordham alum there, but I found some Baltimore people, like people who went to high school in Baltimore. So I've been reaching out to some of those people, trying to, I guess, get some of those connections started. Smart. Especially since they don't do sophomore interns at all, but I guess just kind of making those connections now, at least trying to with a few of those places. So
yeah, because if you make those connections, you get on the radar, have a few phone calls between now and your sophomore summer, and then you give them an update, be like, hey, I interned at Goldman sophomore summer, or I interned at whatever. Then you may be able to get into some processes for like Evercore or Moelis, which is a great place to be. Both great for
them. The only thing is, I guess some of them, since I'm talking to them now, by the time I'm recruiting, they'll have done their 2 years as an analyst. And one of them already told me that he's leaving this June to go to the buy side, so he won't even be there anymore. But
that's a good contact to have. Maybe once you start banking, if he's still at the buy side.
That's true.
That could get you into the buy side, really. That could be a good place to be. So you're right. It's so early that, in a sense, a lot of them will be gone. But if you're able to talk to any associates too, that might be there a little bit longer.
Yeah, I talked to one ED actually, and who's been working, who's been doing interviews for all their non-core recruiting for I think the past at least 5 years. So. And
that's at Moelis?
That's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, those conversations are super valuable if they're like, see you as a freshman to was he or she impressed?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I think you're in great shape. I mean, it's obviously going to be more competitive with the recession we're heading into and all that stuff. So regardless of what happens this summer, how much experience you get, or next summer, if you don't get the ideal internship, I think what's more important is that you keep fostering those relationships and keep, letting people know you're still around and you're still want to go after it, and keep them updated on kind of the progress and the self-study you're doing, stuff like that. To the point where it's, a couple times a year you're paying them.
Right.
At least. So, and, anytime there's like a major milestone, like you get an internship or something like that, that's a good time to kind of refresh and let everybody know what's going on and how you're still, you thank them for their time and their advice and stuff like that. Okay. Anything else besides skills, mock interviews? How do you feel about like interview skill? I know right now you're focused on just finishing school, and that's where you should be focused on, so that you can keep the GPA up. Once that finishes, mid-May. Do you want to, I guess in June, do you want to spend some time with like interviews, or do you want to spend some time kind of going through anything else for our next session?
Yeah, I think our next session is actually later in May, in a few weeks from now. So
Or
at that point,
we can
I'll
punt
be
it. Yeah, we can
okay.
punt it. Yeah, I think keeping it 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks is good
Okay.
for cadence. So there's not like, oh yeah, I just talked to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, well, but like, so if your next one, yeah, you'll be done, and ideally at that point you'll be able to see kind of how much work you're getting
Right.
from the internship, and we can talk a little bit about other things you can do to supplement the resume potentially, and to build it out. Although last time I looked, it looks pretty strong already with what you have in their leadership, extracurriculars at Fordham, and you're doing you're putting the most work into the most important thing, which is meeting people. And so I feel really confident about where you sit right now, even with everything that's happening, because you're starting so early. But yeah, I wouldn't stop. So you've continued. Are you keeping the top of the funnel? Are you keeping the top of the pipeline coming, where new people, you're still reaching out to new people from time to time?
Yeah, it's a lot
Less. Yeah,
a lot less now than I guess 3 months ago, but still a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So like maybe during the summer, if the internship does turn out to be a little bit less demanding, and you have, let's say you do an hour of financial modeling training in the morning with the stuff I give you, and you do an hour of networking, something like that in the morning, just new outreach or follow up. I think that would be a good cadence, just to set aside 2 hours, Monday through Friday, so 10 hours a week of just skill improvement and network call it like fostering or network maintenance. I think would be a good amount of time to spend on it, but just making sure it's consistent every day.
Right.
Will really, by the end of the summer, it's going to just be even more impressive and open up a lot more doors down the road for you, even when you do break into banking. Not if, when. Not if, when.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the only other thing I'd probably want to do with you again is maybe do more of a technical mock interview with you for like maybe in our July meeting.
Okay.
Once you have a little more time to go through some of the courses, stuff like that, I think it would be worth it to really just see how far I can push you on more technical questions and see how you're coming along and where you feel a little less comfortable versus where you feel like you really know the material.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Like in terms of the plan? Okay. How else can I be helpful? Anything else?
Nothing right now, I think.
Okay.
Really just trying to get through this next week, get everything finished.
I know it's kind of a bad timing for this call because you're like school, which you should be. This is like crunch time. I remembered finals time back in the day, and it's not easy. So I'll let you run. Good luck with all of that, and then I look forward. We'll schedule something for early June. I'll push back the other one, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm excited though. I think you're going to get at least some good work experience out this summer, and if not, you're at least going to get a lot of time to train.
Right.
So either way,
I feel good about where I am. So.
It's going to be good either way. So okay, awesome, Grace. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, Patrick at wallstreetoasis.com. Until next time.